So if you will, would you mind greeting, please, the top group, I guess, in the whole world at the moment. Here they are, the Village People. Look out, here we go.
Hello, everyone. And welcome to another episode of The Worst Album Ever Made, a show where I'm on a quest to find out what is the worst album ever made. And today, my search has taken me into the wild streets of Greenwich Village, because we are finally going to tackle Mr. Sticker's long-awaited Patreon suggestion, and we're going to be taking a look at the Village People's 1981 identity crisis called Renaissance.
The Village People are back. The group who gave you this 1980 smash album now presents Renaissance.
But unlike the work of the real Renaissance, this is no birth of Venus. This is no creation of Adam. No, this Renaissance is just one ugly duckling that just nestled right in the middle of the nest that is the Village People's catalog. The Village People's music is known for their happy, upbeat disco songs and the hunky, flamboyant characters that sing them. But in the album Renaissance, everything is different. Essentially, every single recognizable thing about the Village People is not here on this album. The music is a bit more experimental, the characters that fans have come to know and love are no longer present, and it seems like all of these changes were made outside of the Village People's control, like a box office bomb, a record company's intervention, but most importantly, the death of disco. But before we can talk about this album right here, it's time to ask the question, who are the Village People? Well, it turns out that answer is actually way more complicated than I originally thought, because depending on who you ask, that could have multiple different answers depending on who you are asking and also the time frame of which you're talking about. Because the Village People that sang YMCA is not exactly the same Village People that sang the 1985 smash hit Sex Over the Phone. Sex over the phone, you know I like it. Sex over the phone, you know I need it. So let's take a quick detour before we begin to try to answer that question right now, shall we? From what I have gathered from my research, it looks like the beginnings of the Village People started with the dream of one man named Jacques Morali, a French gay disco producer who stumbled across the demo tape of one Victor Willis, who you might know as the Cop. After hearing Willis's demo tape, Morali had a vision, had a dream that Willis sang lead on his next project, and this project would become a worldwide sensation. And it took some convincing, but eventually his business partner, Henry Bololo, was able to help fund and back the project. And with the powers of these three men combined, Morali was able to make his dream a reality and formed a band that he called the Village People. Village People gets their names from Greenwich Village, a place some would say is the birthplace of the LGBTQ+ movement, and was the location of the Stonewall riots, which took place not even more than a decade before the formation of this group's existence. The first Village People album, to be honest, could have just been called Village Person, because there was only really one person in the band at this time, and that was Willis. All of the background singers that were hired are just a front to give the impression that the Village People was a group rather than just one guy, and that's why the vocals on the debut album are wildly different from what most people would expect from the Village People, because they were not really mainstays except for two singers, and we'll talk about them in just a second. The songs were mainly written by Morali with help from Bololo and lyricist Phil Hurt and Peter Whitehead, but with Morali standing out as the head writer. The self-titled album has a very distinctive gay voice despite the lead singer not being gay himself. These songs would come with topics about praising San Francisco and fighting with your fellow Village People against the prejudices of today. After the success of the 1977 Village People EP came a new problem. It was too good, and people wanted more Village People. But there was only 4 tracks and 1 guy. There was no Village People. They had to work out some kinks there and figure out how to make a band out of nowhere. So that's when the ad was put out. Morale just straight up put an ad in the local trade paper to get people to join the group. And that ad said the following: macho types wanted, must dance, and must have a mustache. And the search for the new Village People members began. After the tryouts were finished, 3 more names were added to the group, along with 2 previous members who stayed after the debut album sessions, thus becoming full-fledged members themselves. Each of these background singers, along with Willis, received a new persona to play when the group was together, all of which were playing off of masculine archetypes that were revered in gay culture. And with several of the new singers being gay themselves, these roles fit them all like a fingerless glove. These background singers is what brought the group their widespread appeal, with the background singers bringing a lot of life and energy to this project. This lineup stayed together for the next 4 albums, and that's where most of their biggest hits came from. YMCA, In the Navy, Go West, it's all here. But it was their 5th album, a soundtrack to the movie of the same name called Can't Stop the Music, is when all of this just starts tumbling down. Now, I wish I had the time to talk about this movie in vivid detail, because it is one of the most baffling and craziest movies I have ever seen. The movie is about the fictional retelling of the formation of the Village People, and it's also about the wildest, craziest romantic comedies to ever exist. The movie is terrible. It is so bad. And that's why it's one of the funniest movies I have ever seen. I was crying laughing watching it. I'm so glad I went in blind, because it was just stupid. It was so stupid.
Hey, hey! Wait till you get a load of this!
I'm James, and flame's my games.
Apparently this movie was so frustrating to work on that Victor Willis decided to leave the group altogether. Uh-oh, that's bad, because you're making a movie about the creation of the Village People, and the reason the Village People was created just walked away. That's terrible. So Morale had to spring a replacement very last minute, and that's how we got our brand new lead singer of the Village People, named Ray Simpson, who, instead of getting a new persona, just became the cop and hoped that no one would notice. But sadly, with all the work every member put into this movie, it was still a major flop. Partly due to its awful screenplay, but mostly because disco was dying. This movie was so bad, in fact, it's one of the reasons why the Razzie Awards even exist at all in the first place. If you don't know, the Razzie Awards is an award show that honors the worst in film. And Can't Stop the Music won the Razzie for Worst Screenplay and Worst Picture of 1980 during its first ever award show. Because this disco-related movie was such a flop, RCA became very nervous about their new signees, the Village People. So an image change was strictly enforced for the group. RCA came to them and said, disco is out and this is in. Apparently. Look at this cover! My God, it's beautiful! As you can see, the cowboy darling Randy Jones is nowhere to be seen and has been replaced with our new cover star, Jeff Olson, who looks like a cross between Link Neal and the Flock of Seagulls. Everyone else in the band has been given this awful new romantic gimmick, complete with these weird ruffled jackets and fake moles for some reason. RCA really wanted to try to tap into the hot new wave sound, and asked Morale and his band of merry men to do so. And what this cover is trying to do, it's trying to convince you, the buying public of 1981, that the people who sang In the Navy is going to deliver the next Adam Ant. Were they successful? Let's head to the desk and find out. The first song is called Do You Want to Spend the Night? Already, this sounds like quite a departure for the Village People. This sound is like nothing else they have made up to that point, and it sounds like a completely different band. And that's because it is. It is a completely different band. Morali and Bololo brought in several new musicians to the project to make up this new and improved Village People. Musicians like Howie Epstein on bass, who was from Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, who were red hot at the time, coming off their successful runs for Damn the Torpedoes in 1979, and Hard Promises, which released only a month before Renaissance did. Now, don't get it twisted. Even with all these new, people onto the project, Morali is still the head writer. He still runs this show. And this song, however, is not playing to his strengths. It's not like him. Morali's strengths are flamboyant, thumping disco that speaks to his loud and proud gay soul. You know, one of the critiques I've heard about the disco genre is that people don't like how overproduced and soulless it tends to sound. But to me, personally, I don't really get that vibe from early Village People. There is a lot of passion in the words Morali wrote. Songs like I Am What I Am, Go West, and even W.A.E.M are all powerful ballads written by a voice that many people at the time would have wanted to have extinguished. But on Renaissance, Morali's being told by the record company, hey, you can't be you anymore. You need to change everything about the art you make. And because of that, it's making this attempt at making something that sounds less soulless sound more soulless in comparison.
Spend the night. Do you wanna spend the night?
Now, is it a bad song? No, but it's a contrived one. One that lacks heart and it lacks depth. I wouldn't be offended if this came on the radio. I wouldn't ask my friend to skip it if they had the aux cord, but personally, I'm never going to search this song out myself because it's basically the musical equivalent of an appealing cardboard store cutout. Before I move on to the next song, I am going to give this track a rating on a scale from 1 to 10, but not for the quality of the song itself. You see, this entire album is based off this huge redesign of the Village People. They named their freaking album Rebirth, basically. I mean, the whole thing is all about this brand new image for the Village People, and based around this freaking cover. And I'm going to be ranking every song based on how well they tried to accomplish this goal. I'm going to call that the VPR cover score. So with that out of the way, let's see what the VPR cover score is for the first song, W.A.E.M. Here it is. So yeah, not as experimental or new wavy as the cover looks in my opinion, but I'd say it fits well enough. It seems New Romantic-esque enough. Okay, first song over, second song now. The second song off the album is called 5 o'clock in the morning, which it currently is right now at the time of filming. I thought it was a funnier idea when I wrote it in the script. Now that I'm doing it, I don't think it's that funny, but I already stayed up, so I might as well keep doing the bit. So what 5 o'clock in the morning is about, Ray Simpson is singing a power ballad about how he had a falling out with his lover, and he can't go to sleep because she's not there. And he is heartbroken about that, so he just ends up wandering the city streets by himself because he can't go to sleep.
It's 5 o'clock in the morning. The city is awakening. I don't wanna go to sleep alone.
It was a very minor hit, and I can see why. The song has this fun, moody, melancholic voice, and I think that's really impressive because remember, this is the Village People. This is the YMCA guys. This is the Macho Men guys. This is the Go West guys. these people aren't really built for melodramatic. It sounds like a band that knows what they're doing, which, considering all the hurdles we got to up to this point, that is very impressive.
I guess I'm gonna have to face that I just couldn't run the race. I always thought I was a winner.
And I think if they just stayed with this style of song and they just kept to this like theme of some adult, contemporary, we probably would have had a pretty decent album on our hands, one that wouldn't be infamous and one that wouldn't have been suggested for this show. That's all I really have to say when it comes to the song itself. But now I want to pivot and talk about the 2 music videos that Village People Renaissance had, because I think it really paints an image of what the RCA record company really wanted for their new vision of the Village People. We had 5 o'clock in the morning, and we had Do You Want to Spend the Night? And both of those songs are big departure from what we would expect a Village People music video to look like. The old Village People music videos were very similar to their music. It was very flamboyant, it was very masculine, it was very gay coded. You're not looking at Macho Man and you're thinking, yeah, that's a bunch of straight guys right there. The majority of the people in the Village People were gay, and the music video was really gay, and that's fine. When it comes to the Village People Renaissance music videos for 5 o'clock in the morning and Do You Want to Spend the Night, it seems like RCA's motives with these music videos was to make the Village People seem as hetero as possible. I don't want to get the record twisted. Ray Simpson is a straight man, and he is in a straight relationship for both of these music videos. And that is completely fine. If that's what you want to do, then do it. That's okay. But in the music video for Do You Want to Spend the Night, there is a woman counterpart for every single Village People. And the subtext to it is that these two are these are dating. These are the Village People with their significant other in this medieval castle. Felipe Rose is a gay man, and having him to straight wash him for this rebrand is really gross to me. I don't like that. If it was literally just like Ray Simpson and maybe some of the straight Village People, I would have been fine. Don't give Felipe Rose a love interest if you don't want that to be shown. Just don't force him to be straight. That's bad. And this is just one piece to the black and white puzzle here, because ever since 2016, there has been a consistent effort being made to straight wash the Village People, which sounds so silly to me. Listen, this is the same band that listed their freaking horoscopes on the back of their album. Like, oh, come on, man. You know that was a decision made by the freaking producer. Founding member of the Village People, Victor Willis, is currently the sole owner of the Village People's music catalog. And Victor used that leverage to get rid of all of the original Village People and replace them with his less talented, straighter counterparts. And Victor Willis is on such a crusade to straight wash the Village People, a band started by a flamboyant gay man who died in the AIDS epidemic, that he has gone on to say that his songs that were majority written by a gay man are not gay anthems. You know, who am I to argue with one of the founding members of the Village People? But you know what? I think I want a second opinion, so I actually brought in my brother Chase, who happens to be a gay man, and I asked him what he thought of the situation. And I asked him the following: do you think the Village People songs are gay anthems?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
I would question someone that didn't think that.
Yeah, I would
And I was
too.
like, I need you to argue that. State your case on how they're not. and then I'll show you facts. It was like everything they did was so gay-centric.
It was.
It was so sexualized.
Yeah.
Women weren't listening to that. There's no young girl going, oh my god, and like beating the bean.
He's such a macho man.
Like no one's flicking their bean to Village People.
Like, look how they're holding their crotches.
I mean, look at that.
Yeah.
That, my eye went straight to there. See, I think it's weird how they can be like, we're not gay. You're all drinking fruity cocktails. Every single one of them has a fruity cocktail with umbrellas, and he's got a big flower sticking out of his drink.
I love you, brother. I love you, brother. Anyway, that's 5 o'clock in the morning. Aesthetically, I think it fits really well with the cover. I think this is what all the other songs should strive to be. Very good, 8 out of 10. I mean, it could be better, but I think it's pretty good. The next song off this album is called Fireman. Fireman doesn't make a lick of sense on this album, and it's pissing me off. These men look like they're all gussied up to see the West End premiere of Cats. These people are not the same Village People that dressed up in different outfits in different occupations. These aren't these people. These aren't these men. You know, maybe the image change for Renaissance was going to be more subtle. Maybe they were going to change occupations. Because if they weren't going to change occupations, why is there a song about a fireman here? There has never been a fireman in the Village People. Ever. That's right, no fireman. That GTA Vice City Easter egg I saw, guess what? Inaccurate. Look at that! That's a fireman right there. You put your freaking thing back. You're going to put all the freaking effort into putting an Easter egg of the Village People. You need to do it right, or don't do it at all. And to think I would have gone my whole life without knowing that fact. I've been walking around like a goddamn fool. So yeah, Fireman really sticks out like a sore thumb in this album because it is very classic Village People-esque. It's very similar to their song Hot Cop, which is the same kind of song. It's just about the cop and not the non-existent fireman that wasn't even in the freaking band. The sound on Fireman is, again, very different from the sound of the rest of the album. It doesn't really sound like it's even trying to be new wave at all, and it's not really sounding like it's trying to be disco, but maybe more of like funk. More of a funky sound to it. And it turns out the band lineup for Fireman is completely different. So it also makes me believe this is either the very first song for this project or the very last song for this project. I think the song is fine, it's just a bit cheesy. But cheese is okay once in a while. It's fun. There's like a siren sound, like it's like from a fire station. That's fun. The next song is about the Village People tackling the hustle and bustle of everyday city life. The next song is called Jungle City. For this new serious and emotional version of the Village People, I feel like there had to be some kind of song with some kind of message they wanted to convey. I mean, if they're going to look counterculture, they probably should act counterculture at least a little bit. But unfortunately for us, Morali and company really just chose like the most basic critique they could come up with, and they executed it in like the most basic way possible. And it makes it seem like a very overproduced, high-budget stage production, rather than a small, intimate group of artists that had a real message they wanted to convey. You might be surprised to find out, but this is not the very first time the Village People have decided to make a song that covers a dark theme. And I actually think the previous attempt is more successful than this one. and that is their song called Ups and Downs on Cruisin', which is, funnily enough, the same album with the YMCA on it. Ups and Downs is a song from the perspective of a pill addict who is constantly struggling with their addiction. And there's no happy ending to the song. The pill addict continues to take pills and feel disgusted with themselves. And that mixed with this really happy-go-lucky disco is such a bleak and chilling experience. It's a really cool song and something that sends shivers down my spine. I just feel so bad for the person this is talking about. Ups and Downs hits my soul in ways Jungle City only wishes it could. With Ups and Downs, it sounds like Morale is speaking from the heart, and it's probably because he probably knew some people with an addiction like this, or maybe he was even speaking about himself. Jungle City, on the other hand, just sounds like another piece of work, something he was contracted to write, and it doesn't have the same impact as Ups and Downs does. Is this a terrible song? Again, no, but it's a song that seems very hollow. But to be more positive, if they ever decided to make a big budget Broadway show using only the music of the Village People, I do think this song should be on that set list, and I would think this song has the potential of being a sleeper hit if more love was pumped into it. But as of right now, it's just an okay song on what's becoming a very okay album. Mediocre across the board so far. So I hope side 2 has more excitement pumped into it. Side B starts with Action Man. No song up to this point has felt more like gimmick infringement than this song right here. This is fucking Devo. 100%, this is just rip-off Devo. I'm sure the Morale group just listened to Whip It and was like, yeah, we're just going to do that, but try to add like a sexy guy in there somewhere. Devo is very experimental, awkward, and weird, and how the VP band tried to emulate this weirdness was to make a song about a robot that likes to party. And even still, they don't really go all the way with the robot gimmick. It's just kind of there just for like a little bit of it. But it's almost like a superhero-like theme song, more than about a robot who likes to party. It's kind of muddy what it's actually about. The lack of commitment to the bit is so frustrating to me. Like, this robot motif is so underplayed, and the lyrics are half-assed and very boring to me. And it's probably the worst Village People song I have heard up to this point. And again, this is another example of Morale not playing to his strengths. He is not a Tupperware artist. He can't do Devo better than Devo. What he can do is make the best song about going on vacation to Key West, or looking at muscly men. Like, those are his strengths, okay? This, not in his wheelhouse, and I bet he didn't even like making it. The next song is called Big Mac. Ladies and gentlemen, we have officially lost the plot. After Jungle City, which is a song talking about how bad capitalism is, now we have what sounds like the most obvious product placement in existence. This song sounds like McDonald's propaganda at its finest. And Ray Simpson must have the worst taste buds in human existence, because in the song, he says that he has tried literally all food across the world, including sushi in Japan, and has decided that the Big Mac is the greatest food to ever exist. which I'm calling bullshit. This thing tastes like ass. Listen, sushi can taste like literally anything, well this will always taste like echo of beef dipped in Thousand Island dressing. This sandwich fucking sucks, dude. I'm sorry. Wow, that's delicious. Wow. So good. I mean, it's a personal preference for sure, but I don't believe anyone would write a song about how awesome Big Macs are without some monetary compensation involved. So yeah, this song sounds like it has to be from a McDonald's commercial, because why else would you give McDonald's all this free advertising? But I can't find it anywhere. It could possibly be like this was for like a radio jingle, or this could be from some lost commercial, but I have looked on the Wayback Machine, I have looked on YouTube, I looked on Dailymotion, I've looked through Village People articles, and I can't find anything that supports the idea that the Village People had a McDonald's commercial. This is either lost media, and they did have a commercial, or what's more embarrassing is maybe they made this jingle for McDonald's so they can use it on a commercial, and McDonald's was like, dude, this sucks. We're not using this. And they just put it on the album because they already used all the studio time to make it. New Wave wasn't as anti-establishment as, let's say, like punk rock was, but I still think any, up-and-coming New Wave musician from the late 70s and early 80s would dream about tackling this McDonald's praise kink, because it sounds like career suicide, unless it was being ironic, which I don't think so. Wow, it really seems like this cover is less fitting as we go along, isn't it? We will continue our trend of food-based songs with our next track called Diet. This song right here is one I genuinely enjoy, even though I know full well this is not most people's cup of tea. I know you can't really tell by looking at me, but I'm a known enjoyer of those cheesy VHS exercise tapes from the 80s and 90s, especially the ones made by Richard Simmons. I love that gay little dancing fool.
Stop!
I grew up with these types of tapes. I think they're really fun to do, and what I really like about these tapes is about how, like, uplifting they are and how positive they are. But this song is the total opposite. This is like a rude ass exercise song. And like, oh my god. They are calling the listener so fat in this song. It's saying you're eating ice cream by the pound, you're eating chocolate bars by the bowl, you have Twinkies on your mind, and that you're gonna be so fat you're gonna roll away. It's so freaking mean and savage, and that's why I love it. It's so silly.
Alright, everybody! Down on your stomach! 20 push-ups! 200 sit-ups! Get the sweat up! Get the lead out! Let's see ya! Lose those pounds and fatties!
Here's a tip, guys. If you are going to be making a song that's all about encouraging people to work out and be healthy, maybe you should avoid using the word fatties. Like, the bare minimum. Just don't do that. The final song on this album finishes up the Food trilogy with an amazing song called Food Fight. Food Fight is not sung by Ray Simpson, but rather by the former construction worker David Hodo, who sings in the most off-the-wall closer I could have ever expected for this album. For the final track of an album that looks like this freaking album ends with a punk song about having a food fight. And surprisingly, it doesn't suck. Food fight sounds like something that would be straight out of a Weird Al album. And this album actually predates his debut by several years, which actually makes this a huge innovation for the world of style parodies, assuming that this is one. Hodo's performance is so freaking weird and unique. It's like shrilly, but in kind of a good way that's really fascinating to me. Hodo, however, does not agree with me. He despises the song and sees the song as an utter embarrassment to his career, which is probably the reason why he would leave the Village People shortly after this album was released. But imagine if he didn't leave and they just kept going in this direction and Village People became this like weird, awkward, like punk band. Now that's something I would have loved to see. Now, while the song is a very fun possible punk parody, is it new wave? Is it new romantic? No! Why is this here? Why? Why? Why did you do it? I'm glad the song's here, but that is a stupid decision. The fact that this is the closer and the original song sounded like this. What are we even doing? Alright everybody, that is every track from the Village People's Renaissance. Which means, you know what time it is. It's time to find out where this lands on the board of shame. So let's go ahead and find out, everybody. Alright everyone, it's now time to find out if the Village People's Renaissance truly belongs on the board of shame here. The answer is no, it does not. This thing is a truly crazy album, and one that I would even consider to be kind of a dumpster fire. But it's like an interesting dumpster fire, where I like looking at it, and it smells pleasant enough for me to stay. It's something I think you should listen to. The whole is better than the sum of its parts. If you dissect individual parts of this album, it looks bad, but when you compare it as a whole package, it's like, what were they thinking in the best way possible? It's so baffling, and I think if you had this playing at a party, it would be a memorable experience, and I think people would walk away happy, because it ends with that freaking punk song out of nowhere. What the freak? What the freak, Morale? This thing is silly as hell, and I think you should experience some silliness in your life today. This has been Worst Album Ever Made. Sorry it took so long. Sorry I keep having to say that. Summer is always a busy time for me, but we'll see what happens next time. I hope you enjoyed what you saw. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to brush your freaking teeth.
Why don't you join me? Join me today. Why won't you join me? Join me today. Look at the colors, red, blue, and gray. Look at the colors, see them fade away. Won't you, baby? I need you, baby, to see the inner workings, the grand picture to be. A tree can't pierce the sky if you don't plant the seed. Life will pass you by if distraction's what you need. So please watch the paint dry. the paint dry, please. What?
We have still not reached 20,000 subscribers, which means it's time to spin the wheel of W.A.E.M. Here we go. I am going to be talking about Slave to Thy Master. Boy, does that sound sus.